On May 6, 1937, the LZ-129 Hindenburg, the largest aircraft ever built, was attempting to land at Lakehurst Naval Air Station in New Jersey after a transatlantic flight from Germany. The Hindenburg was a massive German passenger airship, a Zeppelin filled with hydrogen gas that carried up to 72 passengers in luxury across the Atlantic. At 7:25 p.m., as the airship was being moored to the landing mast, witnesses saw a small flame appear near the tail section. Within seconds, the flame became an inferno. The hydrogen gas that kept the Hindenburg aloft ignited in a massive explosion. The entire airship, 804 feet long, as large as a modern cruise ship, was consumed by flames in just 34 seconds. Passengers and crew jumped from windows, fell from the burning wreckage, or were trapped inside. When it was over, 36 people were dead, 13 passengers, 22 crew members, and 1 ground worker. The Hindenburg disaster, captured on film and radio, shocked the world and ended the era of passenger airship travel forever. This is the story of the Hindenburg, a technological marvel that became one of aviation's most infamous disasters. The Hindenburg, the LZ-129. Hindenburg was a German passenger airship built by the Zeppelin company. Launched in 1936, it represented the pinnacle of airship technology. Specifications: length 804 feet, 245 meters. Longer than 3 Boeing 747S's diameter. 135 feet, filled with 7 million cubic feet of hydrogen gas. Maximum speed: 84 miles per hour. Capacity: 50, 72 passengers plus 40 plus crew. Range could cross the Atlantic Ocean. The Hindenburg was designed for luxury transatlantic travel. Passengers enjoyed private cabins with beds, dining room with fine china lounge, with grand piano, promenade decks with large windows, smoking room, specially sealed and pressurized to prevent hydrogen contact, amenities rivaling the finest ocean liners. The airship made the crossing from Germany to the United States in about 2.5 days, much faster than ships, but slower than modern aircraft, which didn't exist yet for passenger service. By May 1937, the Hindenburg had completed 10 successful round trips between Germany and the United States, carrying hundreds of passengers safely. It seemed like the future of air travel. May 6, 1937, the final flight. On May 3rd, 1937, the Hindenburg departed Frankfurt, Germany for Lakehurst, New Jersey, with 97 people aboard, 36 passengers, 61 crew members. The crossing was routine until the airship approached New Jersey. Weather delays meant the Hindenburg arrived late, circling the landing field, waiting for storms to pass. At approximately 7 p.m. on May 6th, the weather improved and the Hindenburg was cleared to land. The massive airship approached the mooring mast at Lakehurst Naval Air Station, where ground crews waited to secure it. The landing procedure. Landing. A huge airship required a complex procedure. 1. The airship approached the mooring mast slowly. 2. Mooring lines were dropped from the nose. 3. Ground crew grabbed the lines and secured them to the mast. 4. The airship was slowly winched down and secured. At 7:21 p.m., the Hindenburg dropped its mooring lines to the ground crew. Everything seemed normal. The landing was proceeding as it had dozens of times before. 7:25 p.m., disaster strikes. At 7:25 p.m., just 4 minutes after dropping the mooring lines, witnesses on the ground saw something terrifying. A small flame appeared on the outer fabric near the tail section of the airship. Within seconds, the flame spread. The hydrogen gas inside the Hindenburg's tail section ignited. What happened next occurred with shocking speed. 0, 5 seconds. The flame spread rapidly along the outer fabric toward the nose. 5, 10 seconds. The hydrogen in multiple gas cells ignited in a massive explosion. The tail section collapsed. 10, 20 seconds. The entire airship was engulfed in flames. The structure began falling. 20, 34 seconds. The burning wreckage crashed to the ground. The entire 804-foot airship was destroyed. Total time from first flame to complete destruction, 34 seconds. Chaos and horror. For the people aboard, those 34 seconds were absolute horror. Passengers and crew had almost no warning. One moment they were preparing to disembark after a pleasant voyage. The next, the airship was on fire and falling from the sky. Some people survived by jumping from windows before the airship hit the ground. Others rode the burning wreckage down and somehow walked away. Some were trapped in the flaming wreckage and died. The survival rate depended largely on where you were in the airship when the fire started. Those near the nose, which hit the ground first and less violently, had better chances. Those near the tail, where the fire started, had worse chances. Crew members in the lower decks had difficulty escaping. Of the 97 people aboard, 36 died. 13 passengers, 22 crew members, 1 ground worker, killed by falling debris. Remarkably, 62 people survived, including some who rode the burning airship all the way to the ground and walked away with minor injuries. The famous recording. The Hindenburg disaster is famous partly because it was well documented. Radio reporter Herbert Morrison was on the ground recording a routine description of the landing for broadcast later. When the fire erupted, Morrison continued recording, capturing his shocked reaction in real time. His famous words became iconic. It's burst into flames. Get out of the way, please. It's burning, bursting into flames and falling. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world. Oh, the humanity. Morrison's emotional broadcast, played on radio stations across America, brought the horror of the disaster into homes nationwide. The phrase, "Oh, the humanity," became synonymous with the Hindenburg disaster. The disaster was also captured on film by newsreel cameras, providing dramatic footage that shocked audiences worldwide when shown in movie theaters. The investigation. Multiple investigations were launched. U.S. Commerce Department, German Government Commission. Independent experts. The central question, what caused the fire? The theories. 1. Static electricity, most widely accepted. The airship's fabric outer covering was coated with a highly flammable material. The most widely accepted theory is that static electricity buildup from the storm created a spark that ignited the fabric coating. This allowed fire to reach the hydrogen gas, which then exploded. 2. Sabotage. Some investigators, particularly on the German side, believed the fire was caused by sabotage, possibly by someone opposed to the Nazi regime. The Hindenburg bore swastika markings. However, no conclusive evidence of sabotage was ever found. 3. Hydrogen leak. A structural failure might have allowed hydrogen to leak, creating a concentration of gas that ignited from some spark source. 4. Electrical discharge. St. Elmo's fire or other atmospheric electrical discharge might have ignited hydrogen that had leaked. The exact cause was never definitively proven, but most experts believe it was an accident caused by static electricity igniting the flammable fabric coating, which then spread to the hydrogen. Why hydrogen? A key question. Why was the Hindenburg filled with highly flammable hydrogen instead of non-flammable helium? The answer is geopolitics. Helium was safer, but in the 1930s, the United States had a near monopoly on helium production and refused to sell it to Nazi Germany. The Hindenburg was actually designed to use helium, but had to use hydrogen instead. If the Hindenburg had been filled with helium, the disaster likely would never have happened. The end of an era. The Hindenburg disaster instantly ended the era of passenger airship travel. While airships had been considered the future of luxury air travel, the image of the Hindenburg burning and crashing made them unacceptable to the public. Who would want to fly in a hydrogen-filled airship after watching the Hindenburg explode in 34 seconds? The German Zeppelin companies ceased passenger airship operations immediately. The Hindenburg's sister ship, the Graf Zeppelin II, never carried passengers. By the start of World War II in 1939, the era of passenger airships was over. Meanwhile, heavier-than-air aircraft, airplanes, were rapidly improving. By the late 1930s, they were becoming faster, more reliable, and safer. The Hindenburg disaster accelerated the shift from airships to airplanes for passenger travel, the legacy. The Hindenburg disaster remains one of the most famous accidents in aviation history, primarily because visual documentation. The dramatic film and photos of the burning airship are iconic. Audio recording. Herbert Morrison's emotional radio broadcast. Speed. The entire disaster took just 34 seconds, shockingly fast. The end of an era. It killed passenger airship travel instantly. Survival rate. Despite the horror, 62 of 97 people survived, a remarkable outcome given the circumstances. Lessons learned. Hydrogen is too dangerous. Using highly flammable hydrogen for passenger transport proved fatal. Alternative lifting gas. Helium should be used for any lighter-than-air craft materials. Matter. The flammable fabric coating contributed significantly to the disaster. Speed of fire. Fire can spread with terrifying speed on structures using flammable materials. Conclusion. On May 6, 1937, the largest aircraft ever built approached its landing at Lakehurst, New Jersey. At 7:25 p.m., a small flame appeared near the tail. Within 34 seconds, the entire 804-foot airship was consumed by fire and crashed to the ground. 36 people died to 13 passengers, 22 crew, and 1 ground worker. Remarkably, 62 people survived. A disaster captured on film and radio shocked the world and ended passenger airship travel forever. The image of the burning Hindenburg became one of the most iconic in history. The Hindenburg represented humanity's dream of luxurious air travel. In 34 seconds, that dream burned to the ground. Rest in peace to the 36 victims of the Hindenburg disaster. Your deaths ended an era and changed the future of aviation. The age of the airship died with the Hindenburg, but from its ashes rose the age of the airplane, safer, faster, and destined to connect the world in ways the airship never could. May 6, 1937. The day the sky burned and the future changed forever.